Today, we're looking at Krishna's Palasa. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. I get inks, test them, and share the results with you. Now, Krishna's Palasa is an orange ink. To make sure I have a range of experience with this ink, I do the writing samples. I put the ink into a different pen for a day. I then put it into a fountain pen Revolution Himalaya with their flex nib to take my notes for this video. Now before we look at the writing samples, let's look at the sciencey bits. Up first is the chromatography. And I agree with Vita that I've learned a lot by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. I put a line of ink down and immediately put it into water for 10 to 15 seconds. And we see that this orange immediately starts pushing up. We do see some lighter and darker oranges. It makes me feel that there's actually two different oranges in this particular mix. The one on the right, I let dry for 10 minutes before I dunk it into water. And we see the same pushing up, and we see the same striations of two different oranges. I really do believe it's a mix of two different ones. Resistance tests are done to see how this ink can be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard this ink might be to clean from your pen. Now I let the smear dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, it does not handle well. There's a lot that just gets blurred out and starts to go away. It makes me not feel safe to use this in a note-taking situation because I don't want to lose anything important. Water's reactivating and lifting most of this ink up off the paper, which is what you could expect having seen the chromatography. You see the beginnings of the white of the paper want to come through, and that is with only 30 seconds of that water being down. Now, pen flush didn't do anything more than water did, so I don't think there's a need for those additional chemicals. And the 1/3 bleach solution, it did completely remove it from the paper, but there's no need to use a 1/3 bleach solution to get this out of your pen. Now, for the inks I've tested, I've found an average viscosity of 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Krishna's Palasa has a viscosity of 2.92, making this just outside of normal, just barely a little bit dry. To find my average dry times, I use my writing samples done with the extra fine and medium nib on Clairefontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper. For the inks I've tested, I've found an average dry time of 17 seconds, with the realm of normal being from 13 to 21 seconds. Krishna's Palasa has an average dry time of 11 seconds, making it a faster drying ink. Now, let's look at the writing samples. I picked this ink up in bottle form back when I ordered a whole bunch of these guys, and a whole bunch of them have been winners, like this one. To keep my writing samples consistent, I use a Jinhao 159 with a Goulet 1.1 stub. I use a Jinhao X450 with a Goulet medium, and a Jinhao X750 with a Goulet extra fine. Let's take a look at the Clairefontaine. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen. The shading is gorgeous. All this crap all over is me being sausage fingers all over the... I shouldn't have been touching it. I don't know what in the world my problem was that day down here. But the shading up here is amazing. It's like seeing the orange to reds to yellows and all that flickering. Oh my goodness. Oh. The extra fine is a slightly darker tone with no feather spread. Halo sheen. The shade is nice. It's subtle. It's not like it was with the 1.1, but it is nice. It goes from the orange into darker spots that are just a hint of red, lighter spots that are just a hint of yellow, like we see in the J of jumps and the M of jumps, and over starts nice and light and gets dark. 6 seconds to dry. Medium, the exact same tones we're seeing with the extra fine. No feather spread, halo sheen, but unfortunately no shade here. 10 seconds to dry. Now the extra fine and the medium scrubby both show us no color variation, but we do see some nice color variation in the extra fine. And the smear test, I do not think you could recover it if you smeared while you were writing. Tomoe River, no bleeding, it has ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, and no shade.
The extra fine has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade. It took 10 seconds to dry. Now the medium is a noticeably darker tone with no feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade, 18 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both showed us no color variation. We weren't expecting it. We weren't getting it. The smear test, you could not recover this if you smeared while you were writing. Rhodia, no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1, no feather, spread, halo, sheen. That shade is like fire again. It's like where it goes from the very light yellows up to oranges up to reds, and that's what I'm seeing right here in the Palasa. It is nice. I see it moving from left to right in the Krishna. It's so good. The extra fine, slightly darker tone than I'm seeing with the 1.1. It has no feather, spread, halo, sheen. Some of the shading, a lot of the shading gets lost here, but it's not gone. Like over, it does the orange to red to orange to red to orange to red. So nice. Does it in lazy. Starts with a more reddish orange and works its way to an orange. 8 seconds to dry. Now red, it gets darker. Much darker tone. It hits more of the red towards orange. No feather, spread, halo, sheen, and unfortunately no shading. 13 seconds to dry. Now the scrubby of the extra fine and the medium show no color variation, but in the extra fine I was seeing it. And the smear test, the medium, I didn't get any up here and I got none down here. The smear test I believe you could recover if you smeared while you were writing. So this is hazel paper. Now the hazel paper, sorry. There we go. Just because it's such a small piece of paper. It comes with these noonday brocade pocket books by Hazel. Absolutely amazing. Truly. It's a very toothy paper, which, fountain pen people don't tend to run towards, but this is not unpleasant to write with. It tends to perform very well. It should be carried by somebody in America so that it's easier to get a hold of. But if you have to order it from overseas, order lots of them. I'm looking at you, Fountain Pen Revolution. You carry all these pens from India. How about carry some of their paper? Just saying. Help us out. Point some of these things out to us like, hey, look at this great hazel paper. And since you're like the India connection on it, and I know that I'm just making some of this stuff up, help us out. The 1.1, oh, I'm sorry. No bleeding, no ghosting. Yeah, it's that good. The 1.1 is no feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade. The extra fine is the same tone as the 1.1. It has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade. It only took 4 seconds to dry. The medium becomes a noticeably darker tone with no feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade, 6 seconds to dry. The scrubby of the extra fine and the medium show no color variation, and we didn't get any. We didn't expect it. And the smear test, I do not think you could recover this if you smeared it. Sorry. This is Word Notebook. The Modern Traveler. It doesn't bleed through. It gets deep into the page. It does not bleed through. There's a lot of ghosting we can see with the medium, not so bad with the extra fine. This paper has been very hit or miss to me. So it's Vinta. I said Word. It's not Word. It's Vinta. V-I-N-T-A. I'm sorry, Word Notebook. The Word Notebook really had some problems. But I'm going to apologize anyway because that was not them. This is Vinta, V-I-N-T-A. It says hashtag the Modern Traveler on the bottom. The 1.1 is no feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade. The extra fine is a tone or two darker with no feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade. I just don't like how thin those lines are. Again, I like blank paper. The extra fine took 3 seconds to dry. Nothing special. Same exact tone as the 1.1. The medium is a darker tone than we see with the 1.1, noticeably darker. It has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade, 5 seconds to dry. The scrubby of the extra fine and the medium show us no color variation. We're not expecting it. We don't get it. And the smear test, there is no way you're recovering if you smeared it. Black and red notebooks. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather, spread, halo, sheen, or shade, just a gorgeous orange. The extra fine has the exact same tone as the 1.1 with no feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade, 5 seconds to dry, so manageable. The medium, slightly darker tone. Looks much darker on camera than it does in person, but it is a darker tone. No feather, spread, halo, sheen, no shade, 8 seconds to dry. The scrubby of the extra fine and the medium show us no color variation, and we got none. And the smear test, you could not recover this if you smeared while you were writing. And that is all that I have for the writing sample.
Instead of finding inks that look like Krishna's Palasa, I would prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. And I wanted a nice dark brown. I chose Noodler's Brown. Before I give my opinion on this ink, I would ask, if you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And if it's your first time here, I would invite you to subscribe. So what do I think of Krishna's Palasa? I think this is an incredibly vibrant orange ink that gives some decent shading given the right nib and paper. I am very happy that I waited to get this ink. I just wish it came in larger bottles because this is an awesome orange ink. If you like orange inks, you need to go out of your way to get a sample of this and give it a shot. Thanks for watching.